Hi, this is Chris with Haven Lighting. Today we have our X Series Genesis 120-foot kit laid out on the table here for you. This comes in two versions. What I don't have here is the differences in the versions. So the two versions are either with track or without track. So with track, we obviously don't have the track here. Without track, there's an accessory pack that comes with screws and tapes and clips to hold the modules up to the house. So that's the only thing missing as far as the 120-foot kit goes. It comes with a starter cable that we will wire to the controller, a 25-foot cable to get you to your first light, and then a receiver that you'll need to start for the first light. So we're ready to wire up our system, and it's really a plug-and-play system. Makes it nice and easy. Anybody can really do it. The trick is the starter wires, so getting those in the right order. If you refer to the spec sheet, you will see, and you can download this online, it will tell you the order of the wires when you're using this piece, and the order say red, black, green, blue. So we are going to wire those in this order. We're gonna put those in the slot as the spec sheet says. So we're just gonna put one in each hole there, clamp down on those. We're gonna run the wire through the bottom hole, so when we put the lid on, it's nice and sealed and waterproof. And then we're gonna go from here. We'll go to our 25-foot cable that came with the kit. Screw that connection, waterproof connection together, and then we're gonna connect our receiver that also came with the kit and screw those together. And lastly, so we would run this to where we need to go to where the lights start. We're gonna plug in the light run. Now the light run is gender specific, so you can't hook it up backwards. However, if you don't start with the connector, one of the nice things about this product is nothing goes to waste. And I'll show you that in a minute. If you're not gonna use a connector and you're gonna start with a bare wire because you've cut and spliced this, then we'll show you how to wire that up as well. But if you do that, orientation matters, and there's an arrow right on each pod that shows you which direction data needs to go. And you're always gonna go away from the controller. So that's it. That's really the easiest way to wire the system up. Now, if you are starting with a piece that maybe you've used on a different project or a different part of the house or whatever, and you are starting with one that you've cut the string in the middle because you needed more to finish a run, or let's say you use only half of these lights and then you want to use the other half in another situation, you would need one more receiver and you would wire in the second port just like we just did. But now you've got a connector that doesn't plug up. So what you are going to need to do is splice this. Now on this wire, you're going to see indicators. Okay, so there's a plus and there's a negative on each side. The middle wire has a bunch of writing, that's your signal wire. Okay, so we're gonna need to know that. And then on the section of cable coming out of the receiver, same thing. So you're basically gonna put plus to plus, minus to minus, and signal to signal. We give you waterproof wire nuts to do that with, so we make it nice and easy. All right, so what we are going to do is I'm going to use these splicers to cut to kind of help separate the wire. Just get it started and then you can pull it apart. So just nick it a little bit and then it just pulls right apart. All right, so now we've got our plus here, our minus here, and our signal. And I don't need this connector anymore, so I'm gonna cut this connector off. Now, if this is plugged in, please unplug it first. And we're gonna do the same thing. So I'm just gonna split these off. We've included wire nuts. So now we are going to just splice these together. We're gonna connect plus to plus, minus to minus, and signal to signal. So we're just gonna connect those, twist them together, and throw our waterproof wire nut on it, make it nice solid connection, just like that. So we're gonna go signal to signal. We're gonna use our waterproof wire nuts again. Make that connection nice and secure, just like this. And then we're going to do our last one. I'm gonna actually spread this further. I'm gonna cut it back a little bit farther, and that way I've got a little bit more room in my track to allow for these wire nuts to fit. So now that this is all set, it's going to lay in there a little bit differently than the others, which makes it easier to fit in the track. So probably should have done that with the other two, but you get the idea. There we go. And now we're off and ready to go. This same splicing technique can be used with the 12-foot extension wire. So I can make a run of, let's say I use several pod lights on this section of my house, and then I need to get from one gable to another, or one section of the house to another. I can very easily, again, before you cut this, make sure the controller is unplugged. But again, I'm just going to cut this, and then I'm going to use my extension cable and the extra wire nuts to splice from one section to the other. Nice and easy, plus to plus, minus to minus, signal to signal, and everything will work properly. If you need to make more than a 12-foot jump, then you are going to need what we call a transmitter and receiver. To do that, you can find those on our website. You can do it. You can do this up to 50 feet. Also, this kind of cable and this plug-and-play connection is good up to 50 feet. We will have another video available. Evan will give you a link to that, to where if you're not using this cable, you can go up to 200 feet if you would like. It takes a little bit different wire and a different kind of receiver to do that, but it is possible. If you need to go more than 50 feet, you can use a different product to do that. If you need to go 50 feet with this, we supply 25 with the kit. There are 25-foot extensions of this on our website. There's also 5-foot and 1-foot. This does come in black and white, so if you got the black version, I would recommend getting the black version, or the white version, get the white version. However, some houses have a mix of white and black, to where you may want the wire running from the controller to be white, and then you start black up at the trim or something like that. So you can mix and match those, no problem. So that's how easy it is. Very, very simple. The only thing I'll say is, if you are at the end of your light run, all right, and you have a open connection like this, we want to make this waterproof. So what I will do is separate these and put wire nuts just on each individual one. So that will make it waterproof and protect the end of the wire. Just like that. I could strip it back if I want to. You really don't have to, because it's the end. And then I would just electrical tape all these together so it's nice and clean and finish it off. So this will tuck into the track. Nobody will see it. No problem there. So that's how easy it is. If you actually happen to end up with the run at the end with a connector, we do supply enough for the channels in the controller. So if you have a 4-channel controller, you'll get 4 of these. If you have a 2-channel controller, you'll get 2. So just end plugs that plug right on there to keep it waterproof. So that's the easiest way to do it. However, most likely you won't end up exactly at the end of a run with this connector. So just do it this way and you'll be waterproof. That's all we have today. If you need us, you can find us at shophaven.com, or follow us on any of the socials: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, and Twitter. Thanks for watching.